she can't hide. Talking all that trash, it's got your tongue tied. We king in the window, we'll start till we're finished. You better be ready to throw down. Calling us nameless, I'm missing the papers, and we find our way cause we know how. You get it twisted, we doing our business, they're chanting our names and it's so loud. Better believe it, we can't be defeated, no way. We are the heroes, we're talking legend. Won't back down until our hands are to the heavens. Heroes, we're talking legends. Won't back down until our hands are to the heavens. Can't stop us when we go in. Kings and queens are folding. There's something in our touch, feel the rush. Yeah, we're golden, sending out a message. Leave them in the wreckage. Unbreakable, powerful forces not to mess with. We keep it a win, we'll fight till we're finished. You better be ready to throw down. Calling us famous, I'm losing the papers, and we find our way cause we know how. You get it twisted, we doing our business, they're chanting our names and it's so loud. Better believe it, we can't be defeated, no way. We are the heroes, we're talking legend. Won't back down until our hands are to the heavens. Heroes, we're talking legends. Won't back down until our hands are to the heavens. We are the heroes, we're talking legend. Won't back down until our hands are to the heavens. Heroes, we're talking legends. Won't back down until our hands are to the heavens.
See that girl, halo on her head, eyes that burn with the devilish stare. Pocket knife hidden in her smile, watch her move like a beast in the wild. She flies with angels, she runs with wolves. Part goddess, part gangster, part honest, part prankster. She flies with angels, she runs with wolves. Diamonds and daggers, she's mercy and anger. She flies with angels, she runs with wolves. The price they pay for continuously underestimating her. She flies with angels, she runs with wolves. Part goddess, part gangster, part honest, part prankster. She flies with angels, she runs with wolves. Diamonds and daggers, she's mercy and anger. She flies with angels, she runs with wolves. My alter ego, you know she's such a queen. Unapologetic and so much braver than me. If only I knew in my heart that someday I could be. Part honest, part prankster. She flies with angels, she runs with wolves. Diamonds and daggers, she's mercy and anger. She flies with angels, price they pay for continuously underestimating her.
You are being presented with a choice, evolve or remain. If you choose to remain unchanged, you will be presented with the same challenges, the same routine, the same storms, the same situations until you learn from them, until you love yourself enough to say no more, until you choose change. If you choose to evolve, you will connect with the strength within you. You will explore what lies outside the comfort zone. You will awaken to love. You will become. You will be. You have everything you need. Choose to evolve. Choose love. Welcome. I'm Alisha Quinn, and today we are going to be having a Alisha review, talking about going from villain to adjustment bureau. Now, I did a previous Alisha review back, I believe, in June, going from victim to villain. So this kind of goes from that one. So if you haven't watched that one, you could go back and take a look at it, because I've been playing this victim game my whole life, and as I went through and you start looking at things a little differently, I was kind of like, I kind of look like the villain. I put my step grandfather in prison when I was 10 for pedophilia. Now, it's kind of like, wonder who he was thinking about, because he'd been doing that stuff a long time. There were many, but there was only one who had a fat case against his butt after the laws changed and sat there on the stand and put him in prison, ruined his life. And so I'm sure he spent a little bit of time thinking about, wow, that little girl put me in here, So, I kind of, was looking at this thing a little differently and look like maybe I was the villain. But it's very interesting because as I went through my spiritual awakening and things, and it's like they put truth in the movies, right? And I've really spent most of my life where I wasn't really a big TV watcher. Even my mom knows that. From when I was a baby, I didn't even really watch TV when I was little. And, I had a couple of shows I would watch and this and that, but I really haven't been like a big TV person. So I really, backed off from watching TV and stuff. And I didn't watch TV a lot. I didn't watch movies a lot. So it was very interesting because when I started looking at them a little differently, like, what am I learning from this? It was very interesting. And then I would get movies that were just so fitting. Like when things, sorry to God, when things went down with me and Ronald and things, I just randomly end up watching this movie, and it was seriously about a young famous male singer who hooks up with a middle-aged woman. It didn't work out, but it was just so fitting for that time. It just kind of made you look at things like, yeah, that whole thing just wasn't going to pan out. So anyhow, as I went through though, there is this movie called The Adjustment Bureau. And if you haven't watched it, I would highly suggest you go watch it. It has Matt Damon in it. And anyhow, Adjustment Bureau, it talks about these beings who they live longer, they have these magical kind of powers. They can like walk through one door, end up, it kind of ends up being like a portal or something kind of thing to a different place. But that what happens is that when people have their timeline, their journey that they're supposed to be on, right? And they get off track. So Adjustment Bureau comes in to try to get them back on track, get on their plan, right? And so it was kind of interesting, like that kind of made sense to me. Like, Cal, he was a little off track on, being, a good person and keeping his hands off little girls and stuff. And Alicia got sent in to get him on track, get him off that shit. And then, there was Alaji, my first husband, who, he was trying to, squander up his little green card, but had his dick problem and line problem, taking my car, doing whatever he was doing, kind of thing. But see, he needed an adjustment on where he was supposed to be. He got a free trip back to Africa, and for some reason, that was where he was meant to be, you know? And, so it just kind of goes on, the Laji that his marriage, got ruined, is same thing, He needed a little adjustment on his life and what he was doing as well. And then, there was Kyle, and Kyle, he needed an adjustment too, but I wasn't the one who to do that, I'm sure I wasn't the last one to get sent in on him. He had a big drug problem and just, wasn't willing to change. And, and then Robert, he had some lying problems. He had some abandonment problems as well. And, you know, he had a dick problem too. And, that stuff just catches up with you. But more than anything, Robert had a religion problem. He had a big fat religion problem and problem with government for sure. And, he just didn't make it. He just didn't make it. You know, I had to abandon that ship while it sank, So, and Ronald, he's doing BS stuff with women online, gave him another problem with another woman online. Imagine. So, Adjustment Bureau kind of sounds good, it's amazing when I looked at my life and I just see how I have been put in all these right places. And, another one that we will mention here is my stepbrother's first baby's mama. Now, this girl, it was kind of interesting because she had a problem with letting my stepbrother and our family see that kid. And she ended up having another kid who she was lying to and claiming that her boyfriend was the father. And it's amazing how life works, especially when you come to see it. You don't get away with shit, I tell you that. And I was put in the right places several times. Several times. And I got the right knowledge that her boyfriend wasn't the kid's dad. And then I got in a position. Like I said, it's just amazing when you see it and you end up in these certain places and stuff, But I was the one who told that man to get a paternity test done. And she never figured out who that kid's dad was, and she didn't have to fight anyone to see that kid. It's amazing. It's amazing. So, I kind of like Adjustment Bureau, Like, maybe you're off track doing some bullshit and you need to get back on track? And so, there's what I call the Alicia bomb. I've set up these freaking Alicia bombs several times in my life. So you imagine, this man, at home one evening, you know, and it's 80s, like 87. There ain't no cell phones. Ain't no cell phones back then. And wife's not home. Wife's daughter's not home. Not the daughter's boyfriend. Not the kids. It starts getting kind of late. Gets dark out and stuff. And then, there's a knock on the door. And it's the police. Now you can only imagine what he's thinking, right? Oh, but no, no, no. They're there for him to arrest his ass. That right there, my friends, is called an Alicia bomb. And then years later, you got a man whose wife left him, took all the stuff that he bought her, and left his butt high and dry. Now, you got to figure out something with immigration, you know. That little trick didn't work. Huh. You got to figure out something now. And he goes into immigration office and, he's trying to figure things out there. And, eventually he makes another trip into the immigration office. And, they're like, yeah, we're giving you a trip back home to Africa. That's kind of an Alicia bomb right there. And then you got a man who's, going along, doing his, little thing, and working and stuff. And one night, his wife gives him a call and says, "Don't come home." In fact, get your shit out. Now, that's called an Alicia bomb right there. But, in the game of life, we do reap what we sow. I came here for it. I knew it. And I was strong enough to, do it and get out. I got out. I got out of it because I came here for it. You don't get away with your bullshit. And, there's more things to it than just your own crap that you're pulling, because there's your own thoughts, and then there's the negative projections that other people put on you as well. Oh, it's a wicked game if you can't figure it out. But I've been given some knowledge, and all I can do is, teach it. And that's what I came here for. I came to go play that game in the dark, and I can see how I was completely spiritually guided and things. It's very interesting, some of the situations I was put in. And, I know that I came here to test people good and bad. And like I said, it's very interesting some of the situations I've been put in. And you know, I came here to flip people's tables over sometimes, and I've done that. You know, Ernestine, I went in there to flip her table over on her reality. And God knew what she was going to do. My spirit team knew what she was going to do. But they also knew that I was built for it too. And, my family flipped their table over a few times, but, you know, it's really sad that you got the world and the physical things that got such a hold on people and religion. And then they battle each other, not knowing that they're both wrong, you know? You gotta let that shit go. You can't take it with you. And you just can't. And you gotta learn your lessons. Grow up, spiritually, figure out what things you have to, you know, to take over, your power of your thoughts and your mind and your the things you say. See, when you are thinking negative things about your own life, which the mind is like the ego, and the mind and the thoughts are totally separate. And so, and you have good thoughts, you have negative thoughts, and the ego will do these projections, and we're so negative programmed that you even on your own life, and you don't even know that that stuff is running havoc on you too. And then when you do it towards someone else, that's called spiritual warfare right there. It's not pretty. It's not pretty. And when you change the game up on people, they don't like that either. They're kind of trapped in their identity, with the world, who the world's made them to be. And, when you start thinking differently, like, you go to the conspiracy world now, you know, you got some people who might kind of, agree with you with some things and be a little open-minded, but there's some things they're just not going to be open-minded to. But, when you start, retransmitting your transmitters, it's energy and people don't like it. So, but, you know, it's time to get out of the world. Get out of the world, get out of the religious system and work on ourselves and the things that we're here to work on. And that's the Adjustment Bureau. They'll keep on coming in on you. I won't be the last. If you keep on doing stuff, Ronald, if he keeps on doing stuff, he'll have someone else show up on him. That's how the game works. And, you get the same lesson over and over and over. And I too actually have those same lessons and cycles as well. So we're going to go ahead and look at a picture and ask some questions. I'm starting to look like the villain for falling out with so many people, but let me be clear. I'm only doing so now because I finally set boundaries. For years, I let everything slide, but not anymore. You don't get to talk down to me. You don't get to smile to my face while secretly despising me. You don't get to make innocent jokes that are actually jabs at me. You don't get to use me. One thing about it, actions don't lie. I've realized that I was too focused on keeping the peace, which led to disrespecting myself. I deserve the same love and respect that I freely give to others. Yep, so words matter. Words do matter. And you ain't gonna be talking crap to me or behind my back. And for some reason, I just have this way of always finding out stuff. And it's truly amazing when you connect to spirit and truly see it. And it's amazing how the Spirit of God speaks to you in all kinds of different ways. I always find out stuff. So, anyhow, we're going to ask some questions here. So, question number one, what part are you playing in your life? Victim, villain, or adjustment bureau? And are you really a victim of your life? Are you really? I played that game a long time. And, coming to terms that I wasn't a victim and that spiritually I chose to go through whatever I went through and play the parts that I played. And, spiritual law, sometimes you gotta let people do shit to you before you can teach them a lesson. So, that's just kind of how it goes. But you know, not the victim. I'm not the victim. And are you ready to face yourself? Now that's the key right there. And everybody has that shadow. They truly do. And facing it takes the courage to do so. And so, are you ready to heal? When you heal, things change. It does. Because what's inside of you reflects back in your life. So, do you want to come into the light? I'll tell you this, that truly it's a whole new game when you can actually see. When you can actually see, when you can actually be like, okay, this is just how this is playing out. Having that peace with your journey, not fretting over stuff, and sometimes things don't go the way you want them to go, but really coming to where it's like, okay, this is just how this is playing out. It's just like the show of my life. And so we'll just see how it goes. And just having that security and the, safety with spirit, that, I chose this for a reason. So why would I choose it? And that if I don't know today why I chose certain thing down the road, I'll know why. And it probably was for my best. And so that's what I have to look at. And do you know who you are? Do you know who you are? I tell you what, when you start searching inside yourself and do your healing and find out who you are, there's nothing like it. There is just something to it. Like, okay, knowing why I'm here at this time, why I've chosen this journey, uh, knowing things I did in a past life, even, and those things, just truly coming to learn about yourself and know yourself. And even, you know, the situations that I was in and things like that, it just makes a whole difference when it's like I know who I am and, finding that self-love. And are you ready for change? I was ready for a change, I tell you that. Conclusion. Everything that's out here in the physical world is a projection from you. And if you don't like it, you have the power to change the script. It's within you. And when you heal and you learn your lessons and break the cycles, things will change. I promise. They do change. And so that's the energy game. You get what you put out, good or bad. And when you have unhealed traumas, you'll end up going through the same stuff. I had for an example, I had a woman who was an avoidant, had an avoidant attachment thing because of her own trauma, right? And she had several guys ask her to marry her. And it's because of that unhealed trauma and that avoidant attachment thing. And avoidance will get people who want to, hold them down, have them, in a committed relationship. So they'll get people like that where, they'll think they want that, but then once someone gets too close and wants something too serious, they'll back off, So it's very interesting when you come to see that. And so, be careful of what you have going on inside, because it's going to come out here and you'll be tested too. I'll tell you that. But, you know, Adjustment Bureau, I kind of like that one, I don't know. I was put in some really interesting places, that's for sure. And I've played some different roles, in testing people and these things. And, sometimes I played the victim and sometimes I played the villain, sometimes the same person. Yeah. And so, you know, that's the thing is that, what game do you want to play? Because you have the power to play the game you want, not the one that you were told, And, when those people can't heal and grow and learn and change, and you flip the script on them, sometimes you got to walk away from them. And so, take what resonates with you. It is an energy game, good or bad, And, once you come to a place where you can see a little better and just know that everyone is just a piece of God on their own journey and own experiences, you can separate yourself from it and not take it personally, really. And so, but, when you're in the thing of duality, ultimately, it's good or bad. And it's, people's shadows, what's inside of them. So, sometimes we need to get out of stuff. Sometimes we need to stop doing stuff. And God has a way coming in and teaching us a lesson. So, I'm grateful for today. I'm grateful for being alive. I'm grateful for supporting me, all the ones that are supporting me spiritually, financially. I'm grateful for all of you who are listening, learning, and growing, and, on a journey to heal and, maybe get out of the world and the BS and the chaos and work on yourself and your own life. And because when you work on yourself, your life will change. So if anybody needs help with healing from trauma, religious trauma, narcissistic abuse, um, even, I did heal from sexual trauma as well. And so if you're interested in that or, working on taking your power back, I can help you with that as well. And so I'll leave my email in the bio and you can reach out to me. Future show on November 5th, following my journey from 2024, which was election night and something revealing. And I'm going to do a show sometime next week on dark to light, that dark to light. And so like, share, subscribe, donate. Links are in the bio and email. Enjoy your day and enjoy your life. And you have the power to change your own story. You do. Love you all. What is spiritual awakening? A spiritual awakening is when a person becomes aware of his real nature and own unique being. When this happens in your life, you will have a new sense of seeing things and the world around you. You will begin to trust life and use your inner voice when making decisions. You will be able to accept your emotions and really feel them, not repressing them through addictions and negative patterns. You will release the old pattern where you react in your life based on your traumas and old experiences. You will know that the same thing will not happen again because you attract what you want in life. You are able to release the old ways of thinking. When you experience a spiritual awakening, many questions will come into your mind and you will ask yourself a lot of questions because your ego will try to find all the excuses to keep you in fear and old patterns.
Isn't it strange how you'll never meet the version of you that lives in someone else's story? To some, you're heartless. To others, you're kindness itself. Some will remember your laughter. Others will never forget your mistakes. But none of them really know you. Not fully. They only know the version of you that crossed their path. You are not one person. You are 1,000 reflections in 1,000 different minds, shaped by moments you may not even remember. You can be a villain in a story you never read, and a hero in another, because we are all mosaics, broken and beautiful, shaped by the eyes that see us. And you don't get to choose which pieces they keep. But here's the truth. You do get to choose the version of yourself you wake up to every day. Because in the end, the only story that matters is the one you write for yourself.
Trying my best at playing nice, but it's a cutthroat world, so I'm guarding mine. Weaknesses as weakness does, to stay alive.
It's worth it to be victorious. I've done things that would haunt most people, but I'm not most people. On my own, my power uncontrolled, it's intoxicating. And I can't satisfy this craving. It watches my enemies are reduced to nothing. And I love it, 'cause I'm not cold-blooded. No remorse, no regrets. And I am only getting started. Mark my words, I won't settle for less than I deserve. On my own, my power uncontrolled, it's intoxicating. And I can't satisfy this craving. It watches my enemies are reduced to nothing. And I love it, 'cause I'm not cold-blooded. No chains at our feet, like a fire we're burning free, blazing a trail, no roads. We're gonna follow that golden soul. Something is pulling us out to the edge. They tell us not to, but we take a stand. We break the rules, we break the rules. Yeah, we do just what we want to. Nobody's fool, nobody's fool. Yeah, we're playing like we can't lose. Born to be the outlaws, no stopping us, no stopping us, no stopping us. We break the rules, we break the rules. Yeah, we do just what we want to. Yeah, we do just what we want to. Yeah, we do just what we want to. Tear down, leave a mark.